Yes, my friends, the Pittsburgh Steelers just wrapped up a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and if you were expecting a dominant performance from the black and gold, it wasn't. Let's not sugarcoat it. It was a tough day for Pittsburgh. While Tampa Bay emerged from practice with confidence and clarity, so much so that they decided Baker Mayfield doesn't need to play in the preseason against the Steelers, the same can't be said for Mike Tomlin's team. And here's the thing. The Steelers don't plan to make any changes to their approach, at least not publicly. No starters are expected to play against the Bucs, despite an underwhelming performance that raised legitimate concerns about their preparation for Week 1. I'll tell you more about Mike Tomlin's plan for the coming days, but first, I want to ask you something. Hit the like button, but only do so if you've been a Steelers fan for more than 15 years. It's great to see you here. Now, let's get to the point. Tomlin's plan was clear from the start. Rest the veterans, protect the core, and rely on joint practices to simulate real-world game conditions. Names like Aaron Rodgers, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Pat Freiermuth, D.K. Metcalf, Chris Boswell, and others were never expected to be on the field in the preseason. But here's where things get interesting. The Steelers' offense, which had been gaining momentum during training camp, faltered in this live game environment. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. What was once a calculated decision to preserve health now begins to look like a potential mistake in preparation. Now, some key figures in the locker room and around the organization are starting to question whether the team's current plan is enough. Should the first-team offense, at the very least, get some live reps next week against the Carolina Panthers? That's the final exhibition game before heading to New York to face the Jets in Week 1. One analyst put it bluntly, yes, absolutely. Because if the joint practice was any indication, this team may not be as sharp as it needs to be. There's still time to correct course, but the window is closing fast. This conversation becomes even more layered when you consider the personalities involved. Aaron Rodgers, who has made it abundantly clear he's not a preseason guy, might not be willing to take the field no matter how sluggish the offense looks. At 41 years old, he's earned the right to protect his body. But this isn't the Jets, where he was the unquestioned savior. This is a new team, and cohesion matters. You can't manufacture chemistry during Week 1. It's got to be built, tested, and confirmed before the real bullets fly. It's also not just about Rodgers. Patrick Queen echoed similar sentiments. He'll play if Mike Tomlin asks, but he's not itching to go. On the flip side, Deshaun Elliott is down to get some work in. There's clearly a split in philosophy among the veterans, but as the offense struggled in Tampa, the need for a tune-up became harder to ignore. You don't want to roll into MetLife Stadium still figuring things out. This isn't about overreacting to one bad day. It's about recognizing patterns and adapting before it's too late. The idea of putting just a few starters out there, say, Pat Freiermuth, D.K. Metcalf, and the offensive line, but not Rodgers, feels like a half measure. As one analyst pointed out, if Rodgers isn't out there, the value of the reps drops dramatically. It's not about Mason Rudolph showing he's a capable backup. We already know that. It's about building trust and timing between the guys who will be on the field when it matters. What's even more concerning is that the cohesion just wasn't there against Tampa Bay. Talent wasn't the issue. It was the lack of rhythm, of chemistry, of execution. And you can't flip a switch on that. If it's not there now, it needs to be built. Quickly, let's shift gears a bit, because while the offense may need more reps, the front office is still active, especially in the wide receiver market. Andy Weidel confirmed that Pittsburgh is keeping an eye out for potential additions, and that brings us to a fascinating rumor floated by Bleacher Report, a hypothetical trade for Tyreek Hill. The proposed deal? Tyreek Hill to the Steelers in exchange for a 4th and a 7th round pick, plus outside linebacker Nick Herbig. Now, this is where things get spicy. Herbig isn't just some throw-in piece. He's a rising star. Undersized? Sure, but he's already made significant strides from year 1 to year 2, and the leap from year 2 to year 3 looks even more promising. Is he a full-time starter today? No, but he's trending in that direction. Trading him now might be premature, especially when depth at edge rusher is one of the Steelers' few unquestioned strengths. Let's be real. The Tyreek Hill of today isn't the same asset he was 4 years ago. At 32 and with a $51 million cap hit looming, there's no way the Dolphins keep him without reworking his deal. A first-round pick? Not happening. This isn't Madden. NFL executives aren't going to pony up that kind of capital for a soon-to-be 33-year-old receiver with baggage. But even with that in mind, parting with Herbig plus 2 draft picks feels like an overpay. If the Dolphins asked for, say, Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson and a 5th rounder, then you might have a more reasonable deal on your hands. In that scenario, Pittsburgh retains its edge depth and adds a game-breaking weapon to the offense without sacrificing too much future capital. It's a low-risk, high-reward play. The front office has options, and Omar Khan has shown he's not afraid to make bold moves. But there's a line, and Herbig may be on the right side of it. The gamble is real. If you lose Herbig and either Watt or Highsmith gets banged up, suddenly your edge rotation takes a major hit. That's not a position this team can afford to be thin at, especially if they want to contend deep into the season. So what do you think, Steelers Nation? Should the team stick to its guns and rest the starters through the preseason? Or is it time to rethink that plan after what we saw in Tampa? Let me know in the comments. Let's go Steelers!